You guys, I heard that the old movie Avatar is coming back to the movie theaters. And I'm thinking maybe we can go, but like maybe movie theaters are very expensive now. When was the last time you guys went to a movie theater? What are the prices situation?
I don't think I can be much of a help there. I think the last time I went to a movie theater was 5 years ago.
I was gonna say 3 years, but that's even longer.
Well, you two were there. We went to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh,
I'm still trying to remember the last time I go to cinema.
Well, I remember Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It was the movie that really had no reason of being 3D, but was still 3D in order to annoy us, right?
I believe so. But I mean, isn't that the basic description of every 3D movie ever made?
Yeah, I would say so too.
I mean, when I was really young, I remember at the start of the 3D movies, there was a 3D warning. And the warning was a guy would fall down with a ladder to the chairs, to the watching people. Like the ladder guy would be falling onto you in 3D. That was the only fun I had watching a 3D scene in my life.
For me, I really like now you're watching the 3D movie and then the icon, like the, I don't know, in Turkey we have this like Cinema Max and their logo would pop up and then turn and do some fun stuff.
Oh, you're right. I remember that. In like the middle of the movie, you would have to put on your glasses because now you have a 3D scene.
Yeah. For me, that was fun. Like, rather than the movie itself, like I like the icons, and I think those were the best that used the 3D environment, I guess.
But it was fascinating for us back then. It was a new thing, and we didn't have anything similar to that.
No, but I think you are missing a point because when 3D first came, it wasn't like here's a regular movie that is in 3D. People thought 3D was something else. Like you would do 3D movies in order them to be 3D, not like regular movies but more expensive.
Exactly.
Like there was this nature documentary or space movies type of things that being 3D actually changed the experience instead of it being, like I said, more hurtful to your eyes and headache inducing.
Like for me, like I mean, I've been living in Berlin for a while, so the last time I was in a movie was like a couple months ago. But I don't know, like the pricing is kind of decent here.
I'm assuming the pricing in Berlin isn't going to be much help here.
Yeah, like maybe I'm now talking in German. But I mean, like for a regular movie, if you go to a regular like chain theater, you pay around like 6 to 5. If you go to like 6 to 5 euros, if you go to a normal, like not normal, but like a artsy theater places, almost like a museum, you pay around 10.
Let me put that in a perspective. How much does a cup of coffee cost in a regular coffee place?
250.
So for 2 cups of coffee, you can go to a movie, right?
Correct. Yes.
That's I think that's a good measure. Like before episode, we were actually talking, should we use Big Mac Index in order to explain prices? But I think cup of coffee is a better way of explaining it.
Yeah, I think it puts a nice perspective in it.
At least it is healthier.
I'm just like talking about black coffee, regular.
Yeah.
Or like latte, nothing super fancy.
The most boring coffee you can get from the beaker.
Basic coffee.
Exactly.
Boring coffee is good coffee.
I agree. Like not those fancy. In order to avoid saying brand names, I'm gonna slightly change the names. Not those fancy cauliflower spiced lattes or
I don't think that's perfect though.
What do you mean? It was perfect.
or like chocolate toffee latte, those kind of things. Not those. Like good old cup of joe. I think cup of joe is coffee, right?
Yes.
I don't know. It is now.
No, I think that's actually a thing. Like cup of joe is a American slang about coffee.
Yeah, I think it's more in the East Coast, but I'm not sure if it's the whole, give me a Joe. Yeah.
Like, I mean, East Coast, I believe, is the higher population density place. So it's like, if you are an American, it is more probable that you are from East Coast.
Yeah, you seem to be right.
So Enes, have you remembered the time you went to the movie?
I can't really remember. Isn't it interesting? Because it's so. Maybe I'm getting old. I don't know again.
Yeah, exactly. Because when I was young, when I was a middle schooler, I can remember that going to movies was a thing you did with your friends like once a month or once 2 months at most.
Yeah.
And now I can't remember the last time I went to movies either. It was many years ago.
Yeah, like and you have more kind of options, I would say, like different genres playing at the same time.
Did you?
Is that true? Because whenever I go to a cinema, whenever I walk in front of a cinema, by the way, in Turkey, usually cinemas are not different buildings. They are usually a part of a shopping mall.
Correct.
So
yeah,
yes,
and they are next to the food places. So if you are going to eat, you are probably going to walk in front of a cinema.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in Ankara, by the way, actually, I don't know whether maybe in different cities this is different, but
it's similar.
At least in Ankara, you can see what movies are playing when you go to eating in a mall. And whenever I go, I see half the places are filled with large brand movies, maybe same movie playing in 6 different halls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of...
I'm not even sure if there is a new genre that came out in the last 20 years.
20? Nah. I mean...
what new genre of movies appeared in the last 20 years?
Like, not new genres, but I mean, what I was trying to say, like, when you went to a movie, you had your classic rom-com, a horror movie, an action movie, an artistic drama from foreign country. Like, you had those kind of options given at, like, in the same month to you. So you had a reason to go back to because, okay, I seen the action movie, now I want to see the rom-com. Let's go to the rom-com next week. Like, But now it's like you said, almost a whole half of the theater plays like they play the same movie, and you only have like 3 different options almost, and it's usually the things that you can find on streaming too, because those are big blockbusters, so they come to streaming pretty quickly, I would say. So it's not a place that, like I found it and this is the new one that I haven't seen, but it's in the theaters. So let me look it up. But it's more like, okay, I knew this was coming. So it came. That's what he said. But yeah, like you can just watch it on screen.
Another office joke that no one laughed.
Oh no.
Yeah, like that was what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, over the last years, the movie watching thing changed. Because let me ask you a question. I was thinking about this the other day, and I would like everybody to answer this. Which of these 2 things do you think cinema is closer to? Theater or a TV series?
I mean, I would say over the...
Theater?
No, I would much say it is TV series.
I would also say TV series.
Oh, okay. I couldn't get your question, but now I got it. Yeah. Because you have the same movie 1, 2, 3. Yeah, right? Is it that?
No, not ordering. My question is, do you think cinema is more similar to a TV series, film watching, more similar to watching a TV series, or more similar to watching a theater?
I would say it is much more closer to TV series, especially in the past decade or so.
Yeah.
But I think you're just focusing on the content. When you think about the whole cinema watching experience...
No, I mean the experience.
I mean, experience is more like to theater, I think.
I wouldn't think so.
I disagree.
Because, the reason you are going to cinema is you want to watch it in a big screen or with some other people that you don't know. Or I just don't know. You get the whole experience.
Well, as I just confessed to having been to a cinema last time 5 years ago, that is not the connection my brain has to the movies.
But you are thinking about movies, but I'm thinking about cinema itself.
Like a theater itself, right?
Because cinema means a theater to me. It's an amphitheater that you watch a TV in a big screen.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You watch TV in a big screen.
And with people you don't know. And I don't like people, so I don't go to cinema. That's the reason. That's easy.
But I still disagree because cinema to me is something like personally, even if I'm watching with people, even if I'm watching in a like theater, it's something that I can like watch like for lack of a better word, watch more, get involved with, like chatting around, seeing an experience together. I wouldn't do that to a theater experience.
Like, I would definitely say that at least when you go to watch a play or any kind of like a performance piece, you don't eat anything, you know? It's considered rude. Like, you don't make any sound. You are in your like sharpest way as you much like you can be. But like with the clothing as well, you know, like, but with theater, like cinema or like movie theaters, for me it's like a fancy living room. That I can't afford to have it in my own house. So when I want to watch something in a better quality, I just go there, but I still in my, super relaxed, chill leggings, have a bunch of snacks, probably didn't bought them from the store in the theater, like I just maybe a popcorn, but probably they're super expensive too. So I bring like a popcorn from outside or from home, and I just like watch it there while eating and laughing. But I mean, when I go to an actual show to watch, that's not the case at all. Like I even try to dress up in a way, at least put some pants on, rather than just having leggings, and look a little bit more decent because that's kind of the environment you're in.
Okay, but let me ask you something about the live performance people not eating. I watch comedy specials in streaming platforms in a legal way, and when I do that, I see that on the audience there are people drinking beer.
Yeah, but that's a different thing.
And it is my understanding that this is also true for musicals. Like you can go to a musical with a drink.
Yeah.
It is. Yes, it is. It's less so about the limitations. I think it is more so that in a theater setting, in a play setting, the audience is part of the performance. Like, in a way, in cinema, it's never going to be. So no, I would still count, like, it is much more akin to watching a TV series.
Okay, so I ask this question because how I think if you ask the same question 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, I think the answer would have been a resounding theater. Like, it wouldn't have split the room.
I agree with that.
Haha, I left cinema 15 years ago.
Yeah, because we didn't have the streaming back then. Like,
I mean, it's not just the streaming though. It's like the evolution of all of these medium forms. Because 20 years ago, TV was not something that, like, when you watched the TV series, it didn't have like this epic overarching storylines over like 10 episodes, etc. Because it was just not feasible, because the way you watched things was not, I'm going to watch a season of this thing.
Yeah.
It was just, I'm going to open the television and watch whatever it is on. So these mediums also have grown with time to shape what they are now.
Actually, as Turks, I believe we have a little bit of a unique perspective about what TV shows look like. And I would like to talk about that for a bit. In Turkey, we have 2 or 3 hour long TV shows.
Yeah.
That are TV series that are written and people act in them. Like
one episode.
Yes.
Not reality TV, like actual, proper, fictional television. We have that. 3 hours long things.
Yes, regular.
We have these things in Turkey. And these things are built in order to minimize the amount of participation you need to have with the content.
Yeah, what do you mean?
What I mean is, you can sit down, watch the 50th minute of the 84th episode, and within 10 minutes you are able to understand what people are doing to each other.
Yeah. Yeah, you're completely caught up.
Yeah,
So
like
maybe
Mhm.
that type of content being commonplace in our childhood, I think it's still commonplace, even though we don't watch TV as much as we did, I imagine.
Yeah.
That may be a part of the reason we don't want to watch a movie from start to finish, because in our mind, what we see on screen is something that you can go off for few minutes and you don't lose anything.
yeah.
And movies require a much higher attention span than that.
Mhm.
I mean, now, like, I don't want to just, like, Turkey has I would say, really strong artistic movie experience too. Like, Turkish cinema is like has a big history with more, like, artistic expression wise. So, but if I go back to, like, let's say, I don't know, like a general common movies, like a Hallmark movie style movies that Turkey also produces, you can still have that kind of an experience in a movie format too, you know?
I would argue that is not a unique experience to Turkish TV series because, like, look at the very old, like the 80s, 70s, 80s Turkish movies. Like when you open the television and the television is halfway through a Kemal Sunal movie that you have never seen before, you still know the types of characters this man plays, and you still know what you're gonna get out of it. Even if you're halfway through, you're gonna see the character, and in 5 minutes you're actually still caught up.
Like, you can still do that with foreign movies too, I would say. Like any Adam Sanders movie that you watch. Like, I mean,
Yeah, I would.
you can get the gist of it in 5 minutes, like, even if you haven't seen the whole 21st minutes. So I guess, like, maybe it's not super related to Turkey, but overall, like, the cinema as an art form and cinema as a entertainment, I guess that's the main difference. Because when you watch, like, artistic movies, then it's a different experience. It's slow burning, it takes a lot of attention, it's, like, a lot of symbolism attached to it. And but when you watch any kind of, like, an action movie or any horror movie or any other, like, more entertainment focused one, it's not the case.
I think the way to frame this is not necessarily action movie and art movie, but maybe more
Yeah, I mean,
common denominator and niche movies.
this is a whole another can of worms. What I really hate the distinction of artistic movies.
Like I said, because that's not a thing actually. The thing that is that some movies are direct to a particular a small set of people that are a niche genre people.
Yeah.
And that genre may change. Like, you can have, like, very hard-boiled detective movies, very intense horror movies, and they are not built for consumption of masses. They are built for a specific type of people.
Yeah.
I mean, also trends also change. I mean, right now we're sick to stomach with superhero movies coming out every month. This wasn't the case, like, back in 90s. After some horrible failures.
Like, when I go back to early 2000s, like, my general movie experience was that there were some that we knew that you have to watch it on a big screen because that was the experience you want to get. And there were some that you can watch it on your TV, where you go to your local bazaar, found out your local pirated CD producer's seller, and that eventually become your, like, really good friend because they know what they are one of the best, like, movie critiques too. I don't know if it was the same for you guys, but I remember my mom would take me to the bazaar and we would find this, like, pirated TV guy. And my mom would ask, like, so what should I watch? Like, my mom would ask him to what to watch. And the guy would start giving this whole, this is the new one, came from here, like, it's a good quality, this is the plot, if you like this type of movies before, the director is this, their previous work was that, and then you will get, like, 6 or 7 of them for, like, 10 Turkish lira, so it will be around, like, I don't know, back in the day around like $4 or so, and you will watch it throughout the whole week. And the next week, when the bazaar is open again, you will take your CDs back to the guy, trade them, and pay maybe extra $1 and get the new ones, because people are still watching those movies. They're still new, so the guy can resell it, but you will get some sort of like a discount, and that would go on like with the DVDs and the CDs. I don't know. Have you guys done that? Or is it just my family being super, I don't know, like not doing legal stuff?
Let me comfort you. You are not the only criminal in this house, because my parents were similar. I mean, my father was similar in particular. And the bootleg movie industry actually in Turkey is quite developed, and there are multiple reasons for that. I'm going to cover them each in a numbered list.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Number one.
Number one, in Turkey, up to very recently, like up to maybe 10 years ago, there was a bit of a delay between movie releases in foreign movie theaters and movie releases in Turkey, like few weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe 1
Yeah.
month, 2 months. Like
Yeah.
something came to air in America, and 2 months later it's in Turkey. And by that time, of course, they would have acquired, the pirate people have acquired the bootleg copy of that movie, and they can sell it to you.
Mm.
So movie theaters were outcompeted in that regard. And then number two, as people, we Turks like to talk over movies. Like, I
Yes.
actually can't compare this with German people. I don't know what they are doing, and maybe Elif can help me with this. But
I don't really.
as we love to talk over movies or talk towards the movies, like saying, don't go there, no, and stuff like that. Actually, usually, we are more of an annoyed people instead of nervous people. Why are you going there? Come on, you
Yeah.
already know what he's doing to you. That kind of,
Yeah.
like, frustrated
Comments. We had the reaction videos, in our households, because everybody would react to movie.
Yeah, everybody was movie reacting type of people. And because of this, we would want to have the movie experience in our homes. So there was a bit of attraction there too. And finally, number three, I think in a cinema, you have restrictions. Like
Yeah.
there are maybe 10 halls. And back then, of course, a movie playing in 3 halls was insane. Like
Yeah.
No.
every movie had one place, and more often than not, they had to share it. Like in the morning, they did a child movie, and in the night,
Yeah.
they did a horror movie in the same room.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
but even then, you can maybe have like 10 movies at a time, or
Yeah.
8 movies at a time. The pirate person has 100 different movies all set up, spread in a suitcase.
Yeah.
And you can pick whatever, like from whatever country and whatever place, like,
Exactly.
and it's always new. Like in cinema, a movie comes and stays for like 4 weeks, 6 weeks.
Mm.
The guy always had new things. So if you wanted to watch more than 2 movies a week, like my
Yeah.
father, that was pretty much the only thing you could do. Like even home, like proper movie releases wasn't that popular at the time.
Yeah.
It was-
True.
They used to come like 1 year later.
It was just not a thing.
Yeah, it was just not a thing. Nobody did that.
We didn't have Blockbuster.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
We didn't have movie rental services, to
Yeah.
my knowledge.
I mean, the trade thing is all new to me.
I remember there was a place that we could rent movies, but when you rented from that place, you usually would go home and make a copy yourself. So it's not that much difference.
You're a different genre of problem.
Yeah. You are the reason rental services didn't exist.
By the way, you wouldn't be able to copy an original movie DVD or an original movie VCD at home, because there is a thing that blocks you from doing that.
Yeah.
So you are either using a pirate software in order to copy a original CD, or you are using a pirate CD and copying that with a whatever thing you are using.
because rental people also had pirate movies.
No, it wasn't a thing when it was first popular, the beginnings of 2000s. Yeah, we were able to copy it. It doesn't have anything on it. You just put this put the CD on and open the something. I forgot the name. It had some fire in it, and you burned it. Another.
Nero, Burning Rome.
Yeah, Nero. You just use the Nero to copy it. It wasn't anything special.
You gotta admire the sense of humor with these people. They did a CD burning
Well,
software and they called it Nero.
Well, speaking of Nero, because I was kind of surprised about this whole bootleg trade thing or giving back and buying something else thing, because my choice of pirate place was much more sophisticated. And he didn't have bootleg CDs. He just has the posters like on the store. So you would say, "I want this. I want to watch this movie," and then he would open Nero and burn the movie to CD and sell that to you.
Cool.
Wow.
So we didn't even have like bootleg trading. He just made the copy there.
The renting place you went did that for games, but that's another story.
Yeah.
He did that for the games as well. It was a joint venture for games and movies.
Let me tell you something crazy. I had a PSP when I was young. And PSPs you can both put CDs in them and they have a memory.
Yeah.
So the guy I went used to put games directly to the memory of the PSP in exchange for money.
Oh my god.
I mean, these are illegal, by the way.
Yeah.
But I think this was more than 10 years ago.
Here in conclusion, we do not endorse any of this.
No, we don't endorse it. But why they appeared, I think, is relevant because,
yeah, but I mean, it is kind of interesting because, like your first point, you're right. We would get the movies much later, but that is funny to me because now recently that is happening again, and not just here. Like it literally is happening in like United States, where some movies do not come to some cities months later because movie theaters are so full of packing all their saloons with this big movies. Like I was reading complaints of people who wanted to watch a movie and it was a popular movie too, and it just didn't come to theaters near them because they were busy showing Disney movies.
Yeah, that theater monopoly thing is an important topic. I think some of you should talk about it in detail because even though our primary audience would be English speaking, they may not be familiar with the concept itself.
Yeah, if I just slightly explain is especially right after pandemic or during pandemic and general trend of people not going to theaters to watch movies, like big companies like Disney started to offer some sort of like a legal contract between the theaters and agreeing on now you show my movies in 8 salons that you have out of 10, so that they kind of gave big endorsement to the theater industry by agreeing with and monopolizing the halls in the theater salons, and so this way they would all just kind of show the big blockbuster movies, and since everybody want to watch those generally, this also allowed a clear revenue and direct audience to the theaters, so it was kind of risk-free for them. But it's also like Benelli said that it's created this scarcity of showing other movies that wasn't that kind of like a blockbuster movies, and a lot of people couldn't have access to them because their local theater had this contract with the Disney. In a way, it's like a double-edged sword because one way it allows theaters to stay open, because if not, people don't really go and they can't pay their rents and electricity. But with Disney movies being played, it creates like a direct revenue. But at the other end, it creates this monopoly within the theater industry of showing just Disney movies, where people can't really access the other niche or non-Disney or non-blockbuster, I don't know, like movies or artistic movies. from different countries or from different regions.
I mean, isn't also a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy, because if you do not show a movie and show a big blockbuster instead because you think it's going to bring more money, and then yes, it is automatically is going to bring more money because you're showing it on all the saloons and you're not giving any chance to any other movies.
Like the other kind of counter argument is that, there are still some other movies been shown, so it kind of creates this trend of people still going to the theater and kind of finding it out the other movies while they're watching the blockbuster. So hopefully, like in a more optimistic reading, they would come back and watch the other two or other three not really well known or other niche shows. But again, like I don't know how it is exactly done, but there are so many yeah, like there are more detailed informed people on the internet just generally telling how this is actually works and how it affects the theater industry in general.
I think the general gist of these contracts is this. In order to show any of our movies, we
Yeah.
need to show all of our movies for 40% of your holds all the time. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't commit 40% of your holds to Disney,
Yeah.
you can't show any Disney movie.
Which you don't want to do because you'll go bankrupt if you don't show any.
Yeah, because like if Frozen comes, you want to show Frozen. But it's a very great deal for Disney because they don't have to do a large number of very good movies. They just need to do enough very good movies to incentivize movie studios to make this deal, and then they can just do mediocre movies. I'm not saying they are doing this. Don't sue us, Disney. But I'm just saying if you wanted to do a mediocre movie, Disney, you would totally get away with that.
Yeah, it's like a new business model.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not just Disney. Isn't this is basically true for any movie studio where theaters cannot afford to not show their movies, any of their movies. So any movie studio big enough can strong arm this movie theaters doing what they want, which is ironic because this was literally the reason, like in America. For us, of course, this isn't the case, but in America, for example, this was the reason they broke up the monopoly of movie studios and movie theaters, because when both belonged to same studios, like when movie studios could own movie theaters, they would just show their own movies. But now we are in a like twisted version of that, where movie studios don't even have to put the input resources to show have movie theaters, but basically own what they show anyway, because otherwise they're just going to show nothing.
Yeah, like in America, it's definitely slightly different, but I just want to kind of go back to like our homeland. So, like, for example, right now in Turkey, like, we never really had that kind of a problem, but the main problem is right now, I would say, the general pricing of tickets. Like, if you go back to Avatar being really released right before the new one coming up, I remember going to Avatar. Like I think it was maybe one of my first actual 3D movies that I watched. When I was in the theater, I was just using these really bad black glasses that I had to take off, like forget to give it back to the theater, and then I use it as like a actual glasses but without lenses. And eventually I remember, like, even in the high school, like I would have multiple of them in my backpack because we would go so frequently to watch movies, and like we talked before, some of them would be just for the sake of being 3D. But to cut it short, right now the same movie is 10 times more expensive with pricing. Like the same movie that I went to back in 2000 whatever,
9.
the tickets are yeah, the tickets are 10 times more expensive. And I think like with the Turkish theater, I feel like that's the main problem. So I always kind of found out myself before the Netflix started in Turkey, I would use these like streaming web page, like pirated streaming web page to watch.
HD movie hell.
Yeah, like where you had 720 HP watch full movie, like those kind of like.
I mean, that is actually a really interesting thing to pick up because, like, we say that about this, and this is just not true about movies, but also TV series as well. Because, like, right now we are more lucky in that department where we get like day one subtitles, official subtitles, day one dubbing, etc. This just wasn't the case 10 years ago. When a movie came, if you wanted to watch it with subtitles and original voice without dubbing, you had to actually watch it pirated.
Because most of them are dubbed. Like, most of them are dubbed.
Yeah.
Especially children movies. Like
animation stuff. Yeah.
And we were children 15 years ago, so
yeah. I mean, to our luck, animation dubbing is a really good industry in Turkey. Like, it is unparalleled.
Turkish dubs are good overall, but still.
Turkish translation is good in general. Like, we are very good at translating stuff to Turkish, whether in writing or in sounds.
No, I think so too.
And that's interesting because we are bad at educating our people in foreign languages. We are instead good at translating stuff to ours. But no, because there are other countries who are also very bad at teaching their people foreign languages, but they are not as good in translation. So I think we are lucky in that department.
Germany. I mean, like German, it's so rare to find English like with subtitles. They love their dubs here. They love it. But it's at the same time so bad.
No, but German is basically English. It's just like very same language with unnecessary articles. That's German.
Yeah, shout out to my Germans.
Well, I mean, it is interesting though because we have spent the time talking about 3D, but like, let's be real, 3D was basically a gimmick.
Yeah.
So that you would come to the movie theater instead of watching it at home, waiting.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Then the 3D TVs came and they were bad.
They were really bad.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is 3D wasn't the only gimmick because I don't know if you guys remember this. When I think this was with the Hobbit movies, there was like a whole ordeal about frame rates and etc. and high frame rate movies that went nowhere. But like, these things keep happening, like, because teachers keep inventing gimmicks to pull people in.
Because it's dying.
Good.
Maybe that's why.
Good.
Is it dying, guys? They have to bring people in.
No, because that's how natural selection works. If you are not competitive, you die.
I don't think that's natural selection.
Yes, it is. If you compete or you perish. That's the motto. Like,
that's.
If these movies, Binali, cannot compete, they cannot breed out new movies, and then they die. That's their line goes away. But no, let me ask you this, and I'm asking this to everyone, and I will start with Enes because he hasn't said anything for a while. Imagine there's the same movie. You can watch it either at home or at a movie theater. Like, I'm just throwing out names here. Imagine there's a Disney movie and it's at the same time is also released in Disney Plus.
Do you have to pay in Disney Plus for the movie?
If you already have Disney Plus subscription.
But sometimes movies in the Disney Plus also you need to still pay for it.
I don't think they have done it yet in Turkey.
I mean, I don't know about that. Like, that's just an example. You already have the subscription to the streaming service in my scenario. But it's also released at the movies in the same time. My question is, which one would you watch the movie in? Under what circumstances? Like, you can go, I would watch it at home if I'm watching it alone, but if with friends, I go to theater. These are valid answers. Enes?
Yeah, I think I will watch it at home.
And why is that?
Yeah, I mean, watching it at theater is a nice experience, but like, I'm a little bit lazy for this thing, I guess. Like, you need to get prepared even though you think you can go with your baggy clothes, but I don't feel like that. I need to get up first of all and go to the anything is like a place that is not my home, and I will need to arrange it beforehand because I can't set up the timing. I can't really decide on which time it will start and which time it will end. So I need to make an arrangement for this and make a
Reservation?
reservation. Yeah, make a reservation, and I need to arrange people because I don't feel like going alone there. I feel a little bit weird and odd, and those arrangements, those preparations, those plannings, really, I think I will watch it at home. But if some other people will around me to watch it together, it's completely fine.
So if somebody invites you, it's okay. But if you have to do the planning, you're not down for it.
Actually, there's a name for that particular situation in network games. Like the game is this, like there's the street, and you are better off if somebody cleans it, but you are even better off if you are not that somebody.
But I don't
So
think
everybody is trying to persuade others to do the cleaning.
Perfect.
I mean, it's not about like being the one who do not clean, but I don't want to walk in that street as well. I mean, even though I don't plan it, which is okay for me, I like planning, but going there is it's tiring. It's tiring.
Can I ask another question to Enes?
Yeah.
Where is the closest movie theater to your house? How far is it?
Maybe half an hour.
Okay.
Like half an hour on
Half an
what?
hour.
Like walking or micro-mobility devices?
On public transport. Public transit.
But like if you took an e-scooter, how long would that take?
He's too old for e-scooters.
I'm too old for this. I'm too old for this. And also, like, I don't like going to shopping mall theaters.
I think that's understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's completely understandable. I want to watch it in maybe indie theater or artsy one, but I don't like the shopping mall theaters because in Turkey right now we have a monopoly of the cinema theaters, and I don't like to go one of them because all of them are same for me.
Yeah.
But like when I moved to Istanbul, I found some other individual cinemas which are quite nicer, I guess. But still, the movies are same in those as well.
But I'm kind of curious what Isel thinks about the question as well.
The first question, like,
would you watch it at home or
the same movie, home or cinema?
It's no question that I would prefer at home because I really don't like going to a movie theater because there are a lot of reasons for me. I can't see far. I have to wear my glasses. I don't have to wear glasses if I'm watching on my computer or tablet. I don't even like to watch movies on the TV or projection since still I would need to wear glasses. So it's definitely at home. And I also agree that I would have to get ready for it. I don't want that.
Okay, Binali, can you tell the audience why you would prefer to watch it at home?
I mean, I'm not gonna be that Karan like discerning about it because I actually thought about this. Like I had a recent example of this. I mean, not too recent, but when Dune came out, I actually considered it like going and watching a theater and specifically like IMAX because like that is a very cinematic experience. That movie is a very cinematic experience, and I think there is merit to watching it like a large screen. But like when I weighed in what I would need it to do to get to an IMAX, the amount of like the price I would have to pay to watch it, and then even without that, you can put in effort and go and have a nice experience, and I think it would have been worth it. But it's not just that, because the biggest problem for me would be that, like in that theater, you don't know how many people are gonna go show up to that showing, and the fact is, literally just one person can ruin that showing for you. and like you have no way of knowing that.
It's probably me.
It
Like,
doesn't even have to be a permanent thing. Like somebody can say something mean to you at the door,
yeah,
and that can ruin the movie for you.
Yeah, but not just that. Like, someone can be too loud, someone can be too abrasive, and that's just not nice. So what I end up doing is just I watched Dune at home. So yeah, I guess and I think that was a very justifiable example to watch at theater. I mean, because again, like I said, it's a very cinematic experience. It's something that when you watch in cinema, and if you have a good experience, it would have been worth it. So for a random movie, I would definitely watch at home. Because even that I ended up watching at home.
What about you, John Dennis? I want to ask you.
How the turntables. So here's the thing. In finance, there's a thing called premium. And what that means is how much you need to be compensated in order to be incentivized at doing something you don't want to do.
Okay.
So in this case, what we are talking about is premium. I would watch it at home on every case, because at home, if I'm watching it alone, I have my beautiful second screen, largest screen, and my earphones are amazing. If I'm watching it with people, I have a projector that I can project to the wall, and I can easily, and I don't have, I have just the perfect number of friends to the amount of seating I have at home. So if I call all my favorite people at home and watch a movie, I can seat them all in a proper seat.
Nice.
And the movie that we are not giving to the movie theater, we can use to buy pizza. But
Well,
Nice.
I am not so sure of that anymore.
no.
I guess depends on number of people.
I can let. And anyway, that's not the point. My point is, so for me, going to a cinema actually requires a premium. So you need to give me something extra in order to incentivize me to go to the cinema. And I am thinking about it, like, if the movie was free and the food was free, I mean, I don't want there to be an endless amount of food for free. I want some food to be free.
Free popcorn. Yeah.
Like, if you come and watch it at cinema, we are giving you a popcorn for free, that kind of thing. I would consider it, but I would still not be very willing to it, because unless they are going to directly incentivize me, unless they are going to say, John Dennis, come and watch, and we are giving you all this free stuff that we are not giving to the people, and if they are doing this a public affair, then this place will be filled with people that I would prefer not to be in the same room with. I have nothing against the person in particular. I don't like crowded places. I don't.
Yeah.
Even before the pandemic, I didn't like crowded places. And like, unless I have enough people to fill the entire place, entire room, I don't think I would want to go to a movie theater, because I don't like getting ready. I don't like paying extra money. I don't like having rules while I'm watching a movie. And by the way, in Turkey, and I think, is it okay for me to say it? Let's find out. I like to consume alcohol while I'm watching movies. And in Turkey, that's super illegal.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons. And like, the only way I can tolerate most movies is a drinking game, and that's not okay in a movie theater, so I don't want that either. So yeah, like, I can't think of a reason why I would prefer to go to a movie theater. Even if one of my friends comes and says, John Dennis, I want to watch the same superhero movies next skin for the 50th time. Wanna do it together? My immediate response would be, let's instead watch something at home. Even over Discord. Let's do that and not bother with going to the place. So yeah, that's my response. My premium of watching it in a theater is extremely high. Or like, if you shut down internet,
Maybe then.
and I cannot stream stuff anymore, then I may consider it, but still I wouldn't be very warm.
I feel like there will be more immediate concerns than watching movies.
I mean, we wouldn't be podcasting about it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the outlier of the group in this sense, I love going to theaters.
No, that's good because you give the illusion of diversity in our group. I mean, she even has blonde hair versus our black hairs. She's our diversity. She's our token different person.
No, but I mean, like, I guess in Turkey I wouldn't go because of the prices, because it's just so expensive. And also, like, I like to go with my family. Like, going to movies is like a really family thing that we do. And yeah, like, kind of like Isel, my mom and my dad, like, they don't really like reading subtitles that much. Sometimes it's too loud for them. But here, like, since I came to Germany, or while I was in the States, I would go pretty regularly because first, it was really cheap, and I really didn't have a lot of to do, and I didn't have a lot of friends. So I would fill my time while I was waiting for something. I would rather go to a movie alone and just watch something, you know? Or, like, especially during summer, because in Germany there are no ACs. The only AC places are shopping mall or the movie theaters. I wouldn't even search for a movie. I would just go and enter the next screening, and that was kind of my way to escape from the heat while I was in a cold movie theater. But again, like, the main reason is because I was paying around like €5, and €5 is like really cheap, and it was in English, so I didn't have to worry about German. Like, that's kind of like unique to Berlin, because in other places it's usually in German. So but I overall enjoy going to theater, like the darkness, being alone. I like watching movie alone in theater rather than with my friends, because I like the talking while I was watching, like commenting and pausing the music. Like, I am a pause watcher, so sometimes I do pause the movie and then talk and then continue, especially if something really weird or strange happened during the scene or whatever. But when I'm alone in the theater, it's like usually just to spend some time. I don't know if it kind of answers the question, but overall,
It's a bit of a different opinion in the sense that usually when you ask people why they want to go to a movie theater, their response is usually along the lines of, I like doing things with my friends. Like, people prefer movie theaters because of the social angle, which is opposite to what you are describing.
Yeah, because I totally disagree with the social. Like, you sit in a dark room for 3 hours without talking to anyone that's been there for you, and everybody has like a limited time. So and you don't even have enough time afterwards to talk about the movie, because everybody already spent like 2 hours in the theater. So they're like, I have to go, like, maybe in a half an hour. So you don't really have time to discuss and actually spend time with your friends. So that's kind of my take with having a social event with friends. Like, if you're just a two people, like, you know, sitting next to each other, you can slightly whisper, I'm sorry, I'm that person in the theater, then it's okay. But if you're like a larger group of friends, I think it's totally not. Like, either you have to meet before to hang out or afterwards, because if you just, the event is seeing a movie together, I don't think it's that much of a shared event in a theater, unlike watching it at home.
You know, I used to organize movie showings for the society in college. And what we did was, we said we are going to this movie, and people who were interested would contact us, and we would get a group ticket for the group. And we would go there. And the way that went is, we would go before, we would do all the food stuff, and then enter, and then, you know, get scrambled. And I agree with you. It's a perfect way of, like, if you are interested in spending time with people without actually spending time with them, this is an excellent way to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, I think there's a different thing that we are not really talking about. I live in my own house. Similar with Izar, similar with you. And I think some people use cinemas for escapism.
True.
For, like, getting out of their house. They want to not be in their house. And they use a cinema for it.
Yeah, like for me, it's the same way.
And obviously that doesn't apply to me.
That's wild. And I spent half my life trying to escape from this house.
No, but you like doing fun things. That's why cinema isn't very attractive to you. But you know, there is a different reason why I don't like going to the cinema. And that's because, as an old person, it is very dangerous to put me in a dark room for 2 hours and expect me to not fall asleep.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I think I fell asleep the last time I went.
Same.
Relatable.
Same. Yeah. But mine was an artsy film. And it was actually in New York Film Festival. and I was like, oh, I'm going to New York Film Festival with my friend.
Wow.
And I fall asleep.
Well, I fell asleep in a Marvel movie.
I fell asleep in Divergent, by the way. I remember the movie. I don't know what happens in the second half of the movie.
It's okay. It's okay. They were also fell asleep making Divergent, which is why the series didn't finish.
One time, my dad fell asleep and he woke up to his fart sound. So
Yeah, that's a Marvel movie.